Hey, everybody, and welcome. I'm Natalie. Oh, Natalie, who needs her microphone. I was drinking my shake earlier and got rid of the mic. I'm making some protein shakes. Welcome. I'm Natalie. This is Life After a Cult. This is the channel where we expose cult nonsense. We laugh at the absurdities and hopefully we unbrainwash ourselves at the same time. And it is Aloha Friday, so I'm wearing my vintage Aloha Friday shirt. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody. Thank you for being here. And if you're on the replay, thank you as well. Jump into those comments and answer questions like everybody in the chat is, especially when it comes to our question of the day, which is, what's the most shocking thing that you have learned about Scientology? Many of you have been following different anti-Scientology content creators, and many of you may have found out about Scientology a lot earlier, but I'm curious, what for you was the most shocking thing that you learned about Scientology? Put it in the chat if you are on the live stream and if you are on the replay, but please put it in the comments. I would like to know. I really want to know. We have so much stuff to go through today, including how a very large channel, Tommy G, dropped a video about Scientology. He interviewed a whole bunch of people: Jenna Miscavige, Aaron Smith-Levin, Serge Del Mar, Mark Bunker, bunch of people. Scientology Audit Streets, LA. It is fabulous. We're going to look at some clips from that. We're going to talk about it. And actually can't wait to talk about that. But let's kick things off with a little funny from Cheryl. And I think that's Tanya, was in front of the flag building doing their, it's like total eclipse of the cult. Because of the song. You'll hear it. Check this out.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely. You're never coming round. Turn around.
How funny are they? I thought this was hilarious. Cheryl is like the queen of little dance things and stuff on social media. It's great to see the ladies having a good time in front of the flag building. I'm going to link everything down below after this video. I'll put it in the description so you can go check out the videos in full, the shorts, the articles, everything. Because remember, I only show you a little peek, a little pull behind the curtain. So be sure you go check those out. Now let's talk about the UK. Over in the UK, Apostate Alex shared something that is very interesting. Scientology, their Citizens Commission on Human Rights. You know, the Citizens Commission, who is completely against psychiatry, wants to end any valid form of mental health treatment. So it's not going to be so much, what would you call it? Competition for Scientology. So down with those psychiatrists who have been messing with people since the Xenu days, millions of years, per L. Ron Hubbard. Don't know if you guys knew that. So the Citizens Commission for Human Rights, this is their flyer here: stop the torture, ban electric shock treatment, attend the march against psychiatric abuse in London. So this is coming up April 28th, 11 a.m., 146 Queen Victoria Street in London. They're going to be doing a Citizens Commission on Human Rights march against psychiatric abuses there in the UK. And I always feel like, you know, that's real rich Scientology. Like, you're going to do a march against the abuses of psychiatry while at the same time people are being literally abused in Scientology, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. Just about any way that you could abuse another human has happened in Scientology. So while you're having your march to end psychiatric abuses, I don't know, maybe you want to clean your own house first. Call me petty, call me crazy, but I just feel like it's just not a good look. People know, they're learning. They know what the Citizens Commission on Human Rights is, and it's a Scientology front group. Tell me what you guys think about that. And anybody in the UK, if you do go out protesting at the same time, let me know. Natalie at lifeafteraCult.com. I would like to see what happens. I would pay money to see that happen. And here's the other thing. I wonder how many people are going to show up for the march. You know, how many Scientologists want to go put themselves out there like that and be so obviously associated with Scientology? Because I can tell you, as a former member of Scientology, you know, sometimes you just want them to be on the down low about it because there was so much negativity about Scientology. So we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Scientology up north. Good to see you. Sandy McKenna says, they say psychiatry is abusive. Meanwhile, they're out here diagnosing people with body Thetans attachment disorder. Oh my gosh, Sandy, body Thetans attachment disorder. So it'll be PTAD, PTAD, BTAD, body Thetan attachment disorder. It's funnier the more I think about it. Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Hey, Feral Cheryl, we just shared your total eclipse of the heart. Turn around. You are the queen of that, Cheryl. Please do more. Please do more. All right. So anyway, Citizens Commission on Human Rights doing their thing in the UK. I hope that the people, the Scientologists that choose to show up to support the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, I hope they come by way of tube and can end up seeing this. The billboards in London in the tube are up. As you can see, they say, I'm an ex-Scientologist. Alex, activist, curious? The Aftermath Foundation can help you. And there's multiple of these billboards. This is from the Underground Bunker, Tony Ortega. You can go read the whole article. Let's see, was there another picture? It was just that picture there. And then there's the one with Mike Rinder as well. But how amazing. Can you imagine getting off the tube, whether you're a Scientologist or not, and you look over there, it's like, curious? I'm an ex-Scientologist. I just love this so much. Afila, I agree. The billboard is awesome. Jojo Banana says, wish I was there with Alex today for the march. Wow. Are they doing a march today? Jojo Bananas? I need to get caught up on my email. I got an email from Alex, but I'm very behind, but I'm going to get caught up this weekend. Yes, Scientology Up North. The billboards are incredible. They really are. It'll be neat to see. I'm sure they'll get pictures and videos and stuff. I can't wait to see it. I think it's so amazing. I think this is one of my favorite things in recent times as far as doing something to push back and educate about Scientology. These billboards look just like Scientology's billboards. Hey, Magnus, coming in from Switzerland. Oh, I don't know, Jojo Bananas. It could have been. I'm just not aware of it. And yeah, they're about what's the time difference? 6 hours? So I'm not sure, but I'll definitely go and check it out after this and see if it already happened or if it is today. And if anybody knows the details about that, go ahead and put it in the chat. Or if you're in the comments, put them, if you're on the replay, put it in the comments. Julia says the billboards are absolutely fabulous. I know. I just love it. Oh, there's Alex. Okay, Alex, the march is on Monday. Okay, cool. Awesome. Can you give any more details, Alex, about the march? Like where people should go and what time it is, if that's able to be shared. And if not, where people can go to get more information, maybe. Maybe we could put your email or whatever the best contact is for people to coordinate in the chat there. Jojo Bananas. I'm glad you're here to set me right. All right. That is fabulous. I'm loving those billboards. Meanwhile, over in Clearwater yesterday, there was a fundraiser for Save the Garden. And you all know that the Save the Garden project is basically Scientology is trying to buy that street in Clearwater. And Clearwater people are like, no, we're not down with this. And a group came forward with an idea of building a community garden as a memorial to African Americans and to to celebrate their heritage. I think that's a brilliant idea. So that is something that they are working on, and with the hopes that that will become a reality. And whether or not it gets approved by the city of Clearwater, our hopes are, of course, that the city of Clearwater realizes they should not be selling a street to Scientology. You can go to savethegarden.org to find out more about it. If you want to contribute, you contribute as well. So lots of ways to help out. But let's look at a clip from the fundraiser last night. I think this first one is Aaron Smith-Levin.
A whole other reason for this project, and that is we have got to stop giving Scientology property that they take off the back.
The audio on that clip's not too good, but he was basically saying we got to stop giving Scientology property. We need to just stop giving them property. I don't know. Maybe don't sell them a city street. That just seems really grabby. You know what I'm saying? This is like not even in Monopoly. I don't think you buy the streets, right? You just buy the what are they? The stage streets, locations. I'm totally having a brain fart on that. The menopause brain fog is strong today, my friends. Strong. Especially since I have not been sleeping great the last couple days. I've been having these muscle spasms again. So that is a work in progress. Yes. Okay. So, but I'm going to show you another clip where Brooks Gibbs, who is the man heading up this initiative, speaks. And the fundraiser was at Nash Keys, which is in Clearwater. And you guys might remember the owner of Nash Keys. He also owns some other businesses. His name is Tony. He also, I think, runs like their downtown business group. And he is definitely advocating for this garden memorial. And the fundraiser, like I said, was at Nash Keys. So let's take a look. I know Cheryl was there. In fact, this is a clip from Cheryl's channel.
And so, there was something that came up recently. There was something called Garden Avenue. And Garden Avenue is the street that is right in front of the flag building. And Garden Avenue has been a very important entryway to a historic population called the African American business community back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. And we found out that Scientology, over a year, negotiated with the city council to get the votes that they needed to purchase this building that wasn't, or this street that wasn't even for sale. And they were going to purchase it for $1.375 million. I don't know what other back deals that they did, but 3 of the 5 of our council people agreed to it. And in the last hour, our little group decided to put in an alternative proposal to purchase it.
That's right. And I agree with that comment. Vote them out. Vote them out. Marilyn Honig from Coffee, Colson Crafts. Yes, stop Scientology and menopause brain fog. I know. I feel like it's all hitting. I have all of the things today. All right. Now let's look at, okay. So then later, Aaron Smith-Levin comes back up and invites everybody to the Clearwater protest, which happens on Friday nights. So this is happening tonight, and this is going to be exciting to see if people show up.
Right outside the Fort Harrison Hotel.
Yeah! Woo! Yes!
It's a protest against Scientology. But if we get 100 people to show up, we'll turn it into a protest for Save the Garden.
Yeah!
We'll turn it into a protest and Save the Garden even if 20 people show up.
Right.
The yard signs outside, perfect for protesting. Got the QR code.
Well, I gotta get one.
For the right size, the whole like that. So I guess what I'm saying is today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
So we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. outside the Fort Harrison Hotel. You can miss us.
Yeah! How fun. I can't wait to see. Hopefully people take them up on that invite tonight, because that could be a lot of people. And they've been having a great turnout when they protest in Clearwater. It's been growing. There have been families that are vacationing that learn about it and have been showing up as well, that hold signs for a bit and help to protest Scientology. I think it's just fabulous. Cheryl says, tonight is going to be off the hook. I agree. I cannot wait. I truly cannot wait. Yes, Jen Cass, hashtag Save the Garden. And remember, you can go to savethegarden.org. You can donate. You can get on their email list so that you can be up to date on everything that's happening. So be sure to check that out. Now let's hop on over to Los Angeles, where Dan Walks LA was out and had the most bizarre encounter with a Sea Org member driving a van. What this guy does to try and hide themselves is beyond cringe. It's like, you've been spotted, you've been seen, you can't blend back into the chair. It is actually funny. You got to see this here. So look at this. There he is in the van. He gets spotted. There. Oh. Did you see that? Did you see how far back that guy tried to push himself in the chair? Let's watch it again. He sees Dan and then he hides, and look at that. He's trying to push back so that Dan can't see him. Then boom, takes off like a thief in the night, just goes and burns out of there. So again, here's the thing. Scientology. We're going to wake up the Office of Special Affairs because I really feel that they need to hear this. And as you guys know, I'm headed home to Hawaii next week, and I've got Davey Miscavige here, all dressed and ready. He's coming with. We got him some cute little sunglasses, his summer vibes, and his really cute shorts. David Miscavige, let's take off your glasses. Wake up your people. Office of Special Affairs. I hope you're not jealous, Office of Special Affairs, about the setup here. I'm bringing them with to Hawaii. So back to what I was talking about. Office of Special Affairs. Here's the thing. It just seems like when you tell the Sea Org members to hide from the camera, maybe you should train them to do it in a more casual manner. Look away. Act like you're reading a book. I don't know. But all of this, like, this is what it looks like. I'm hiding from Dan Walks LA. I'm hiding. It's childish. And I mean, even my grandkids learned after a while that just because they do this doesn't actually mean they disappear. I can actually still see them. There's a word for this. I don't know what it is, but when a child learns, oh, wait, when I go like this, they can actually still see me. I feel like this is a missing thing in Scientology right now because so many members of the Sea organization who are not allowed to be videotaped because God forbid their friends and family see them, recognize them and are like, oh my gosh, that's Joe. We should call him. What happened? I thought he was dead. All of the things. It just makes it look so much more weirder and culty. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm here for it, right? We talk about it. We laugh about it. But this is another great example of you're doing this to yourself. The target is not the people who are live streaming and covering it. The responsible parties are you, the Sea Org members themselves, whoever is instructing them to do it. Yes. Thank you, new name. Object permanency. That's right. Object permanency. I remember that now. Yeah. Susie, yes. Object permanence. I knew there was a word for it. But Sea Org members got to learn this too. I don't care how far you try to push yourself into a wall, you're not going to blend into it. It's physics. You know, it just works like that. I hate to break it to you. You don't have an invisibility cloak in the Sea Org. No, you don't. You just got a belt buckle with a Sea Org symbol on it. And I'm pretty sure if you keep pushing it, nothing's going to happen. You're still completely visible. Sandy McKenna says, Sea Org members are like Bigfoot. Everyone claims they exist, but when you try to take a picture, they mysteriously disappear. Good one, Sandy. Now, over at the Blue Buildings, Audit LA was out there. We have a great clip. Audit LA attends a lot of meetings that Scientologist Sea Org member Janet Weiland does. And I'm sure Janet absolutely loves it. And Audit LA was out there at the Blue Buildings with a message for Janet that I thought was really nice because she offered her some help. Let's take a look at what happened.
And I know that you want to get out of here. I know you are sick and tired of being forced to go to these meetings, that you hate it, that you just want to retire and be with your son. No, this is the Blue Building. You can let's go, Janet. You could be free today. DMV tube. We're trying to rescue Janet. Janet, I know you want to leave. I'm willing to help you. Seriously, I don't hate you. I want you off CPAP, and I'm going to keep fighting for that. But I would help you get out of this hellhole. I think it's horrible what they're doing to you. And I heard you want to leave.
How amazing would that be? And hopefully that gets through to Janet. And if she really does want to leave Scientology and the Sea Org, that we can help her do that and help her get back on her feet. Maybe she's even got family outside. I don't know. But that was pretty fabulous, right? Scientology up north, Audit is a kind soul, and she would help Janet in a heartbeat. I absolutely know that she would. All right, now let's go over back to the Hollywood Testing Center. This is an oldie but goodie. And because we have so many new people here on the channel, shout out to all of you. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the like button while you guys are at it. Scientology Audit Streets, LA, there was an interaction with the security guard that kicked off a lot of what became this recent evolution of protesting Scientology and live streaming. And some of you may not be familiar with that. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that with you. This is from Scientology Audit Streets, LA. Scientologists mock my slain son. Scientology leadership ordered guard to bull bait me. And as many of you know, bull baiting in Scientology is where basically you're trying to push somebody's buttons and then you push them until you no longer get a reaction. But you're basically trying to push their buttons. You're trying to bait them into a confrontation. You're trying to bait them into a physical altercation where that person, then Scientology can call the police and say, oh, this person assaulted me, or this person is behaving in a way that's erratic, or whatever it is. And we talk a lot about not taking the bait when a Scientology agitator, someone who represents Scientology, comes out and tries to push your buttons, because it's exactly what they're doing. And they've done this for decades, especially since the beginning. So let's take a look at this.
I should have been a better father.
Oh.
Remember, Scientology Audit Streets, LA, William Good, his son died tragically. He was shot. And so for the security guard to put this at the feet of William and what he's trying to do is he's trying to introvert William. In Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard says you have anchor points that are put out, right? And if you can drive those anchor points in on someone just by introverting you, that they'll cease to be a problem. Because the goal with Scientology, or like with the Office of Special Affairs, is to render critics of Scientology ineffective, so that they're not doing it anymore, to be able to get rid of them. And he thought, very incorrectly, that by bringing up the death of his son, that he would introvert William so badly that William Good would not want to would not want to show up again at the testing center. And talk about reading the room incorrectly. I mean, I just can't believe he did that, but this is what kicked it off.
You really should have.
Yes, my son died. See, this is my son died because I'm a bad father.
He wouldn't be going around and getting himself.
Well, what are you talking about? A gunfight? My son didn't get in a gunfight.
So the Scientology security guard made up a few lies about my son that I don't appreciate. The first lie is that he claimed my son died in a gang war. That's false. The second claim is that my son died while in a shootout. That's false. The third claim is he died while committing criminality. That's false. And the fourth claim is that my son died because it was my fault for teaching him said criminality, which again is false. So let's actually look at the facts of the case. Okay, so first off, my son was murdered in June 2021 while he was in the process of moving. He was with his girlfriend moving from Inglewood to Signal Hill in Long Beach. On the way there, he stopped at a friend's house in Watts. When he got out of the car and waited for his friend, 3 gunmen pulled up, shot at him 40 times, and hit him 17 times. Now, my son was not in a gang, so to claim that this was a gang war is simply a lie.
It's just so sad and tragic. And also another example of Scientology thinking they can use something like that against somebody. I mean, it's exploiting his grief as a father whose son died tragically at the hand of gun violence by somebody else. That is just next level low Scientology. Office of Special Affairs. That one video alone, which I think he clipped this, which is doing very well on the internet. People are knowing and seeing what you're really about. Who does that? Like, who does that? What decent human being does that? And let me tell you, this is Scientology. This is what they try to do. Some of their trolls have tried to do that to me with Tony and Tony dying. And that doesn't affect me at all because I recognize it for what it is. And it's such BS that it's actually laughable. Like, it's so obvious. I'm like, it's ridiculous. Hey there. I got to use the button. AZ wife, because he talks about me every day. Fingy, gifted a Life After a Cult membership. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. If you want to become a member of the channel, there's a link in the description of this video, and Nancy will drop it as well in the chat. Usually we do weekly member live streams, members only live streams, and it is a fabulous way to help support the channel if you love what I do and you want to help me do it. Now let's go take a look. I'm going to link that video down below. And if you've not seen it, it's very short. It's just a little over 4 minutes. Go take a look at it, because Scientology Audit Streets LA shares the truth of what happened with his son and the way that Scientology has been lying about it and trying to use it against him. And it's not working. All it is actually doing is making Scientology look even worse. I've never known a person, individual, group, whatever, to shoot themselves in the foot so many dang times. It's actually getting sad. Sometimes it's so ridiculous and absurd, but it's also kind of sad. Like, what are you, like some 12-year-old mean girl in middle school? Like, that's your response to people who show up to live stream or people who have questions? It's insane. Absolutely insane. And rest in peace to William's son. Absolutely. Okay, now let's go over to Chicago. Manning 8 and Style Audit 1A were out there. And it looks like Scientology had a little bit of blind tech failure as well. You see that one spot there? Like, what happened? Did the blind break? Could they not put it down? Was someone trying to cut their way out to freedom?
We need to walk every day.
And then you can contact the Aftermath Foundation.
This is sad to me. This person has got to be, I don't know. To me, everybody looks like a kid. Tell me what you think in the chat. In the chat, how old do you think this person is? Again, I look at someone 35 and I'm like, hey, baby, like you're a child to me. Not really, but I'm in my 50s. I'm 55 years old. Like, if I can be your mom, then, you know, then I think of you like a child. Okay, so 19-ish. Jojo Banana thinks. Mama Opal says 22. Farrell Cheryl thinks 17, 18. Joe Raz 17. Kate 18, 19. Mock 25 maybe. Abigail's guessing early 20s. He's a young person. He has an entire life ahead of him, and he is in the exact position, depending on what his age actually is, that I was in. I was a Scientology staff member at the age of 15 when I left school to go work for Scientology. And you have to show up, work all these hours, have another part-time job to actually support yourself without any other opportunities in life when it comes to learning or all of the things that you would do as a teenager. You know, I never went to prom. I think I never went to a concert. I didn't go to a concert until I was like a mom, and I took my kids to a concert that they wanted to go to. And I think about that. And when I see young people like that, it just breaks my heart, because you should be out living life, figuring it out, getting into shenanigans, learning, finding out what you want to do, who you are. And when you're working for Scientology, there is no opportunity to do that. You are pretty much have to keep those blinders on and focus on Scientology. Anything else is other fish to fry, as they call it. And young people end up missing out on so much. And let's even think about the fact that this person's brain is not fully developed. What is it, like 25 or 26 years old when that happens? Yet, here you are, stuck there. It's so sad. It really does break my heart. Let's finish watching this.
.org. You can blow.
Yeah. Blind tech in Chicago and a young person. It's just, I just hate it. Hey, Robin Miners. It's so sad. All right, let's go over now and talk about, this is such an interesting and odd story that we're about to tackle here. Let me pull it up. This is from The Underground Bunker from Tony Ortega. Let me pull it up here. So the article's called Michelle Fiore is third Scientologist Trump has pardoned that we know of. And this is her here. And many have wondered, like, is she a Scientologist? Is she not a Scientologist? Like, what is the deal? And what we seem to know, or what I gleaned from this article, was it's such a bizarre story. It's like political fraud. It involves dolphin cruises, presidential pardons, and somehow it all ties back to Scientology. So Michelle Fiore, who's also known as Lady Trump, a Nevada politician, very loud, very fiery. The press nicknamed her like she was like some WWE talent. She was just pardoned by Donald Trump after being convicted of fraud, as in raising money for a statue that was already paid for, and then using the cash for personal expenses like rent and her daughter's wedding, because nothing says public service like embezzling for your kid's big day. So she was up on charges for that. She called it a politically motivated witch hunt. I don't know. I'm sorry. You're taking money, you're spending it on rent, that you're fundraising for a statue on your rent and your daughter's wedding. I'm not sure there's anything else more clear and cut fraudulent about it. But she called that a political witch hunt. Now, here's where it gets really juicy here. Back in 2017, Fiore was spotted living her best Sea Org light life, swimming with dolphins on the Freewinds cruise ship, which was very interesting because just everyday people connected to Scientology don't go to the Freewinds. Usually you're a Scientologist if you're going to the Freewinds. And so this woman on the Freewinds, you guys know that the Freewinds is Scientology ship. You don't just walk onto the Freewinds unless you're part of the group. It's not something that's open to the public. Like anybody can just go book a cruise on the Freewinds. You very much have to be a Scientologist. So she's never publicly confirmed being a Scientologist, but federal agents uncovered receipts, literal receipts, showing she paid for those trips as part of Scientology services. So yeah, she's in, or was, or still is, who knows. It's just very bizarre. And she isn't the only Scientologist to get a Trump pardon, get out of jail free card. From the January 6th crew, I think it was, let me look at my notes, John Hennigan, a professional poker player and Scientologist, and TV chef Carol Kaczynski were operating Thetan level Scientologists, right? Not just new Scientologists, hardcore Scientologists who stormed the Capitol, got convicted, and were later pardoned. So if you're keeping track, that's 3 known Scientologists who got pardons, and who knows how many others quietly skated by after a little auditing and a lot of lobbying. I don't know. So in addition to that, we've got Trish Dugan, who's one of, if not the largest, wealthiest Scientology donor. She got a big appointment to the Kennedy Center board. Then there's John Cole, another big time Scientology lawyer, who got sent to Ukraine as a deputy envoy, which I don't even know what that is. Deputy envoy. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. You got Grant Cardone, Mr. I can't live on $35,000 a day, who spoke at a rally. And then Pam Bondi, the new attorney general, has a history of playing footsie with Scientology. So there's these direct ties and a lot of loose ties. Now, there were a lot of people pardoned. It wasn't just these 3. My suspicion, and I could be dead wrong, is they were just part of the whole thing, right? Not necessarily pardoned because they were Scientologists, but I could be wrong about that. I just think it's interesting and incredibly disappointing, because what message does that send? You can commit crimes, you can commit fraud, you can break the law, and you can get away with it. And I think this has the potential, this has some actual damaging potential, because will other Scientologists who are kind of zealots about it get it in their head that they can commit crimes and then be pardoned for it because these other 3 Scientologists were? There aren't a ton of Scientologists in the world. So for 3 of them, and then the other loose connections to Scientology, I mean, that's very notable. And it's very disturbing. So we'll see. We'll see what else happens there. But I'm going to link it down below so you can read the whole article. But it is interesting. It makes me nervous because, I think a lot of us are wondering, like, how much of an influence does Scientology now have, with many of these Scientologists being put into positions of power or being very connected to the administration? I don't know. I just find that very disturbing, and considering how much Scientology has gotten away with over the decades in terms of fraud and a multitude of other crimes. Some they didn't get away with, like their infiltration of 136 different government entities. 11 people got sentenced to prison for that. But I could see within Scientology, this sending a signal. This is speculation on my part, my opinion, based on my experience as a Scientologist before, that this would send a signal to the Scientology community that you can fair game, break the law, and not only not get in trouble with Scientology, but maybe even get away with it for your crimes and be pardoned for it. I don't like the precedent that sets, or the message that sends to an organization that has committed so much fraud, broken up families, covered up SA, and so on and so on and so on. Now let's hop on over to a blog article from Tom DeVocht, former Sea Org member, former Scientologist. Fascinating life. You guys, if you're not subscribed to his blog, it's like $5 a month. Go check it out, because these stories and things that he's sharing are outright insane, but they are the truth. And it might help you understand too how David Miscavige got away with so much of what he got away with. And I found this very, very interesting, because before David Miscavige was ruining lives in high definition, Tom DeVocht was 11 years old, kind of like vibing his own Addams Family childhood. It wasn't the greatest. So when Scientology showed up with its spiritual lingo and save the world sales pitch, it felt, relatable. He was told he was a thetan, a spiritual being above the flesh. You are an immortal being. You just have a small body. And he was like, yeah, that tracks. And by the age of 12, he wasn't out having recess at school. He had a mission. His mission was to save the planet. His mission was the goals of Scientology. And I will tell you, as somebody who was recruited into the Sea organization as a child, that is exactly what they tell you. When I signed my Sea organization contract, I think I was 13 years old. And part of the appeal, I can still remember it, is I was spoken to and treated like I was an adult. And bought into this idea that, I can achieve that I'm being held back as a teenager by staying in the public school system and not activating my life goal of clearing the planet. And the Sea Org recruiters have a way of making kids and young people feel like the Sea organization aligns with their purpose. If you play music, they're going to lie and tell you, you could be a golden era musician. Rarely has that happened for anybody. There's only a few. I know so many people, especially young people, who were recruited into the Sea organization under certain terms, made certain promises, and it never happened. And that's still, going on today. So Tom DeVocht has been around for a long, long time. So fast forward then to like 1980, where Tom DeVocht was like 16 years old. He'd been in the Sea Org for a few years. He finally gotten his golden ticket, 2 weeks off. It's such a big deal to get time off in the Sea organization. When you join, they tell you, oh, you get a day off every other week if your statistics are up. And, you also you can get 2 weeks vacation a year. I don't know any Sea Org member who took off 2 weeks or every other weekend. Why? Because you had to have it approved. You had to get approval for it. Let me get my aloha button.
Aloha.
Thank you, Jen Kez, for donating 5 Life After Occult memberships. Everybody, if you get one of those memberships, give her an aloha in the chat. I appreciate that. So there's so many ways that we're fooled as young people into joining the Sea Org, and then told, well, don't look over there because your purpose is over here. So if you see something weird, not okay, off policy, it's just not happening. It's a whole bunch of gaslighting. So during his 2-week vacation, Tom DeVocht heads off to, I think it was Belgium, with his brother to visit his dad. And his dad was super into skydiving. And I got the idea that he chose skydiving even over fatherhood. And the plan was to go, spend time together, bond. So because, and I wasn't clear, I think was his dad an ex-Scientologist, a former Scientologist? But regardless, the dad wasn't down with Scientology. So there was a lot of talk about that. A lot of, I'm sure he was telling him more like the truth about Scientology. And they went skydiving. So here's Tom DeVock, this teenager, having this amazing experience in Belgium and then going skydiving, which I think is super scary. Tell me in the chat or on the replay, have you gone skydiving? I have no desire, none whatsoever. I don't seek out adrenaline pumping activities. It's the literal opposite of that. After all of my years stuck in Scientology, recovering, I don't need to trigger my fight or flight. That happens when someone slams a door or comes up on me and I don't know you're there, or makes sounds that I don't recognize. I don't need to actually jump out of plane to, do that. I think I would literally have a heart attack. So, but funny story that he shares in this article is that when he jumped out of the plane and hit the ground and rolled, he rolled right through some cow dung because he missed the landing and ended up it must have been like a cow pasture. So he rolls in this and he's covered in cow poop and has to go back to his dad, but he survived it and it was quite the adventure. But here's the thing. He then didn't want to go back to the Sea Organization. But what happened? He went back. And do you know how they got him back? Of course, telling him, well, you got to leave. If you're going to leave, you got to leave and ride out properly. But it was the sense of duty. You signed a $1 billion contract. You have a responsibility as a Sea Org member. So this sense of duty and responsibility, and he was just a teenager, was really pushed on him to return and stay in the Sea Organization. And that's very real. That's what kept many of us there. And when you're a young person and you've been raised to believe that Scientology is the be all end all and that you can't possibly be free as a spiritual being without it, there's this sense of duty, kind of like in the military. But Scientology tries to use that same sense of duty and responsibility. Mock says, not the worst manure to be covered in. That's true. Chuck Ross says, so after landing in cow poo, he felt a sense of duty. Chuck Ross just won the internet this morning. Yeah, Marcy, I'm with you. I always thought I wanted to go skydiving, but realized I'd probably get up there and then go, no way, I'm not jumping. Yeah, no, not me either. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Greggy says, not surprised at all that Scientologists who have committed crimes are receiving presidential pardons. High-level Scientologists have donated to the guy. Money talks. It is what it is. Well said, Greggy. Well said. I agree with you, Bushman. It's not the fall I'm worried about. It's the sudden stop and the bottom that scares me. I agree. I totally agree. So let's see. Did I finish going through that? So he goes back and he does end up staying in the Sea Org despite having that taste of freedom. And he wouldn't leave Scientology for many, many, many years later. But he talks about this being the first moment where he had a flicker of, I don't want to be here. And it's so unfortunate that, he went back and then was stuck there for many years. But he is out now. He is free and he is writing about it. So you can check out Tom DeVocht on Substack. I will link that down below. Do you guys watch Two Hot Takes? I know some of you do because you guys sent this to me. On YouTube, they have a podcast, Two Hot Takes. I'm going to show it to you here. They had an interesting topic. They answered these questions and somebody wrote in with a Scientology-related story that is like something out of a crazy movie. Listen to this.
My boyfriend and I have been dating for about half a year now, and it's been great so far. Never met his family up until this point, as they live in another state. This past weekend, he decides to take me on a quick trip, Friday to Sunday, to meet his family. I knew he's from a wealthy Scientologist family, but he himself is not practicing or involved. He said it's not actually that big of a deal. His family's nice. It's a very big deal. We get to the house, huge mansion, super well guarded, top security. It already feels off at this point to me. Inside the property, there are people in uniforms working around the yard and garden.
It's get out.
They greet us, but make
He's right. It does sound like the movie Get Out. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you haven't, Get Out is a fabulous movie. I loved it. I don't know what platform it's on, maybe Netflix. I'm not sure. You can look it up. But that was a good movie. And I agree. The way she describes it, it does sound like, if you're familiar with that movie, where you show up and it just looks really, it's a vibe, right? You can tell when something, you can feel it when the energy's off.
no eye contact whatsoever. I'm creeped out at this point.
And remember, so the suspicion here as the story goes on is, are these Sea Organization members? Where it would make sense that they wouldn't be making eye contact. They wouldn't, really very much keep to themselves. And Tom Cruise has Sea Org members that do stuff around his house and helping him out. He has taken advantage of that free labor for a very long time. So is this another situation like that? Because it was sounding very creepy.
I ask my boyfriend about them. He says they're just staff. I meet his mom, dad, and younger brother inside. They're nice. His parents are very fancy people. Inside the house, there's the same people in uniforms doing stuff, and the place is spotlessly clean. We have a meal together, and these people serve us. Think servants in movies. They don't talk, no eye contact. The parents don't interact with them. It's so weird.
How rich are these people? I feel like it's like those celebrities, not going to name names, but
At this point,
there's like a couple of families I could speculate here. And if you all want to speculate with me, jump in the comments or jump in the chat, right? Of course, who are our top people this could be? I think of Trish Dugan, who is running, head of the board for that Kennedy Center now, the wealthiest Scientology donor. That's a possibility. There aren't that many like ultra rich Scientology families that would have that. Phil Jones, good to see you. He says, when we were at John Travolta's house, there were at least half a dozen Sea Org OSA people working there. It was creepy. And again, this is something a lot of people don't know. High level Scientologists with a ton of money, celebrity or not, get this kind of treatment, and Sea Organization members will actually go and run their household and work there. And why is that? You have this tax exempt status. You have these people working slave labor pretty much, but you're going to, let's just send them over there to go clean Tom Cruise's pool. What does that have to do with saving the planet or clearing the planet even? And the way that Scientologists justify this is because L. Ron Hubbard said you have to flow power to power. So very rich people are in positions of power and influence, which means they have power and influence. It can help Scientology. Therefore, Scientology gives them people to Sea Organization members to work pretty much for free, getting their $47 a week, because that's their way of flowing power to power so that they get favor back or donations back, whatever it is. It's outright dead wrong. And it's all being done under the guise of this tax exempt status. And what I don't understand, what I've never really gotten is, as the person, like if I was suddenly, I won the lottery tomorrow and won like, $1 billion, like real money. I would of course have people to help me, but I don't think I could accept help from staff that were not being taken care of. And Sea Organization members are not taken care of. And to do it too and not actually be paying them a living wage. Why is it that these people who have more money than the average Scientologist are given the free labor? Because Ron Hubbard said you got to flow power to power. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why not send Sea Org members to the homes or places where Scientologists are suffering or struggling and need help? Maybe somebody had a death in the family and they can go over and clean their house or help out. Maybe there's Scientologists who have family members who are sick in the hospital. Rather than sending volunteer ministers to do a bunch of touches, maybe go clean their house. There's a theme I'm hearing in my head. I feel like, do you want to help out? Clean my house. Somebody asked me the other day, they're like, would you what if, my friends were teasing me. They're like, what if we sent over a super cute guy and you could do whatever you wanted for 2 hours? I'm like, oh, do it. Because I got a list so long. I got things that need to be fixed, things that need to be cleaned that I can't reach, outside chores that need to be done. Send them on over. That's how I would use my 2 hours. So I don't understand this. Not just that Scientology does this, but the person receiving it. What are you doing? It just feels ick to me. I don't like it. You guys tell me what you think. And that is interesting about what Phil Jones just said, that John Travolta too has a lot of Sea Org members working at his place. Mr. Phil Jones, it's very interesting. John Travolta had Sea Org working for him. I do not know why. I don't think he would. Interesting indeed. It is. It is very interesting. I don't know how that gets justified in their head. Sandy McKenna says they had butlers in uniforms and still no one offered her a drink. Just a way to happiness pamphlet and a subtle threat to her eternal soul. I don't doubt it at all. Oh my gosh. Creepy, creepy, creepy. Okay, there's more to the story though. Let's listen to this.
Point, I subtly mentioned them by saying the staff's doing a great job. The mom says they're not really staff, but something similar. She says they're part of something called the Sea Org, and they're essentially volunteers, so they don't get paid.
Oh, God.
Rest of the days until we leave were exactly the same. I tried to have a chat with the volunteers, but they only give short, polite replies and then run off. It quite literally felt like they were forced to be there.
Yeah, they were forced to be there. So the son, the guy dating the woman who wrote in about this story, knows that they're members of the Sea organization. So they do know, and they do know that they don't make any money, yet they still accept all this free labor, going around working on their lawn. What in the world? You can afford to hire lawn people, support a local business, go get a local business to come out and do it. You can afford to do it. You don't need help like that. Why are you allowing it? I think that is so disgusting, honestly, because you're literally taking something that these people are not making a living wage and they're doing this full-time job for you that you could hire a company to do. You have the resources to do it. Send them, if you want them to really help people, go help people who actually need the help, not sending Sea Org members to rich people's homes to do all this work for free. Why? Because they know Sea Org members will keep their mouths shut. They won't say anything. They're not going to talk to the media. They're not going to talk to the press. They're not going to talk to tabloids until they leave Scientology, and then they will. Anyways, this pisses me off. I don't know if you can tell. This is just like next level absurdity. I think this is up there with the stupid things that Scientology does that they could easily fix. And shame on you, whoever the Scientologists are who are accepting Sea Org members' free labor where they're being mistreated, not fed properly, punished by sleep deprivation, beans and rice, and you're just accepting that free labor and having them pull weeds in your yard. You're disgusting. You really are. I know you're probably not watching this, but it's so nasty.
I tried to ask my boyfriend about it, even now, but he has the same way of talking in circles as his parents about anything related to their family / Scientology. They say a lot, but actually say nothing. The end.
Wow. So they do go on to have a discussion about this and share more about Scientology. I'm going to link it down below. It is a great episode to be checking out if you haven't checked it out. Phil Jones says the Sea Org people are there to make sure the celebrities are still with the program. They will report to OSA daily, maybe hourly. And that is true too as well. As much as they're there to help, they are there to spy and report any bad indicators. In Scientology, it's called a bad indicator. If you're talking crap, thinking about leaving, and they're supposed to note those and take them back to Scientology. David Miscavige had Sea Org spies all up in Tom Cruise's business. That's how he knew so much of what was going on. Yep, Scientology up north. This sounds like a PTS situation for the whole family, and that would be a potential trouble source. It's just so weird, right, Lala? Wow, still your boyfriend? I know. And it sounds like the boyfriend wasn't really involved in it. It was his family. But there are only so many ultra-wealthy Scientology families. So if you'd like to take a guess, put it in the chat. If you're on the replay, put it in the comments. I want to go back and see. I wouldn't accept it. I don't want spies in my house, number one. Number two, I just could not sleep at night knowing that people who make $47 a week are out pulling weeds in my yard, who've dedicated themselves to saving mankind, to clearing the planet. They don't join the Sea Org because they're selfish. You give up having a family, friends, a life because you believe that you're actually going to help other people. And I think that's so important to remember. The people that are in Scientology, many of them, especially in the Sea Org, unfortunately believe just like I did that we were doing something to create change. The mind control and the propaganda, the threats kept us there. But we put up with it because we thought we were doing something bigger and greater that will really help a lot of people. And it's just not true. It's just not true. Phil Jones says, our Sea Org daughter was posted with Tom Cruise at one point. That's ridiculous. Yeah, and I get it. They're used to spy as well, but they're doing all this labor for free. You know, Lala, that's a great point. Boyfriend knows what this is and is complicit. Complicit. You're right. I agree. All right, let's go over and talk about this Tommy G video before I blow a gasket talking any more about this situation. Hold on. I need some protein shake. I need to just calm the hell down. Okay, y'all ready? Are we cool? Have we moved beyond? Let's cleanse all that off of us. Icky, 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 icky. All right, here we go. Let's move on to the other ick. But this one's actually really cool. So Tommy G is a YouTuber who has a very big channel, and he did a video. This thing in less than a day got over 1.2 million views, and it is completely exposing Scientology. We're going to look at some clips here. I got a few. Maybe some of you have seen it. If you haven't, I am going to link it down below after this video. This is a must watch. This is a good one. So let's look at the first clip here where Tommy G has a conversation, meets Mark Bunker.
Scientology, huh? It feels like we're in like a nuclear testing town almost.
But look, like the Scientology people on the roof right there, maybe trying to sign $1 billion contract to Sea Org for $50 a week.
I have been helping people who have been abused or defrauded by Scientology.
This is Mark Bunker, a journalist, activist, city councilman, and Clearwater resident who spent over 2 decades fighting against Scientology.
Scientology.
So he has this amazing conversation with Mark Bunker. And at one point he goes over to the Welcome Center with Pat Harney, Aaron Smith-Levin's best friend, Pat Harney. And look what happens. Let's take a look at that when they're inside the Welcome Center in Clearwater.
Why does no one here answer questions?
Make them over here.
Can I buy a book first?
Private property, you can, but you can buy it out here.
Are you like a leader here?
Can you please come outside?
Are you a Sea Org member?
Can you please come outside?
I will come outside if you can answer like 3 questions. I would love to come outside.
Come outside, please. This is private property.
Hey, Elron. All right, Pat, have a good day. I wish we could have talked more, honestly. Hey, guys, they're not really open to the public anymore. We have their Agent Smith coming.
Can you come up?
Oh, no. Agent Smith, what got you?
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's a camera. It's a Scientologist with a camera. Let's pack it up and go home. We just need to pack everything up and go home because they brought a camera. Oh my gosh, we just hate being videoed. We're on YouTube all the time showing ourselves being videoed. But oh my God, put away the camera. Please, you put camera in my face. I'm going to be like, let me just touch up my makeup. How's my lipstick? Okay, go. It's so hilariously ridiculous. And the way he's moving in with it too. He's not just casual, like click. No. He is like with a big camera and zooming in. He's showing him he means business. This isn't just some cell phone camera. Okay. That looks like, I don't know. What is that? Maybe a Canon. That is a big camera. That's saying, I'm taking your picture. All you got to do is go on YouTube and you can find out who exactly he is. This doesn't intimidate anybody. Office of Special Affairs. I know you got to take your pictures. I'm not saying don't do it, but you got cameras everywhere already doing it. So when you send people to take pictures, it's not intimidating. You will not intimidate, especially someone on YouTube, somebody who does documentaries with a camera. That's just not threatening. That's like coming up to me and going, Natalie, you know what? And throwing Twizzlers at me. You know what? I'm going to catch it. I'm going to catch some with my mouth. That's not intimidating me. I like Twizzlers. how they think that that is a bit. I mean, yeah, Constance June, the camera guy who comes up after that screams cult. It's just how weird. It's so weird.
You into Scientology. Oh, sorry, I'm just. Hold on, I'm standing still. He's taking a picture. I'm trying to pose. I don't want it to be a blurry photo. The house in the gardens. What time do you think I should be by later? Like, do you guys do cookouts or anything like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I bet you guys would actually enjoy
our website. Check out our TV channel. Okay. Fantastic.
All right.
So he tells him to go check out their TV channel, doesn't let him buy the book. And Tommy G even said, like, he would have bought the book. You didn't let him buy a book. He could have bought a book. Scientology, you're running around all the time saying, read a book, read a book. Dude shows up to actually do that. And you're like, get out of the building. Why not at least sell him the book first? I mean, I guess he can go get it on Amazon if he really wants it, or the library. Maybe a used bookstore. You could probably, they're probably being used as doorstops in bookstores. You could go find one. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Animal Audit Corner. If they are going to throw out people like that, they should get rid of the sign that says all are welcome when they are clearly not. So true. And the fact that they have such a button on cameras and being recorded, they're just going to pull in more of that. So I don't know, Office of Special Affairs, you got to ask yourself at some point. I feel like your founder, L. Ron Hubbard, would back this up as well. What did you do to pull it in? What did you do to pull in Tommy G? Phil Jones says Scientologists are terrified of cameras, so they think others must be also. Exactly. Because they hide and run when they see a camera, specifically the members of the Sea organization, because they have been instructed to. So it makes sense that they would believe that other people are scared of cameras, and they just look so stupid doing it. But okay. Now, Tommy G also spoke to Jenna Miscavige. Let's look at a clip from part of that. Here we go.
And sleep for a few hours under our desk. Basically, any little sense of joy that you had, there were people marching around trying to take it away. My name's
so cute. Jenna was so cute. I can't even stand this happened to her, especially since getting to know her. It's a whole nother level of hearing her story again.
Jenna Miscavige, and I was born and raised in Scientology, and I left when I was 22 years old.
This is Jenna Miscavige. She was born into Scientology and is the niece of David Miscavige, the man who seized power of the church in 1987 after L. Ron Hubbard died and has ruled the church with an iron fist, allegedly, ever since. This is kind of like if Kim Jong-un's niece fled North Korea, lived to tell the tale, and we got to interview her. In Scientology, her life was tightly controlled. She endured intense indoctrination, physical labor, and emotional manipulation. Here's what she had to say.
When I was 9 years old, I did what Scientology calls a purification rundown, where I had to be in a sauna for 5 hours a day. Yeah, and I would get like bloody noses even, but you have to keep going until you achieve whatever it is they want you to. Like you have to.
Yeah, you wouldn't even
voice something.
You wouldn't, if you were, they say, because L. Ron Hubbard said, what turns it on will turn it off. So if you're in the sauna and you start getting sick and not feeling well, you're not supposed to go out of the sauna. You're supposed to keep doing it because what turns it on turns it off. Rochelle, I did not understand the weird lighting angle they used on Jenna. I know, it's kind of strange. It's like she's in a sauna. But what's important is we can hear her well and getting that word out. But I agree too. I was like, hey, give some light there.
That's the result of that program, or else you have to keep doing it, basically.
Well, my name is Serge. I grew up in Scientology.
And after surviving a period of horrific neglect as a child, the church began to groom him to be a rising star of their auditing team. Auditing, by the way, is one of the main exercises of this religion. It's the practice of someone getting relentlessly questioned until they are able to release painful or traumatic thoughts that they may be holding on to, believing that once they do that, they can free themselves of this negative baggage they are holding on to. This is his account of what he experienced.
The kids go from the very bottom of the org board, which is like the maid,
And this is interesting because this is a Scientology organizing board. This shows you each of the divisions, every Scientology organization. And when Scientologists use L. Ron Hubbard's business technology in their business, they create these organizing boards. So you might see this at your dentist's office and you'll know he's a Scientologist. It shows you each division in an organization, and each division in a Scientology organization has a corresponding book that goes with it. It's a giant book, although I heard David Miscavige got rid of them, but I think he redid them as well, called the OEC volumes, the OEC, organization. What the hell does OEC stand for? I love it when I forget my Scientology. So anyways, the OEC volumes, there's one for Division 7, one for 1, and so on. So you've got like the executive division, communications. Division 1 is kind of like HR, dissemination division, so promoting Scientology, treasury, right? So handling the money and all of that. Production, well, you get into actually delivering Scientology services, whether it's auditing or courses. The qualifications division is a division that handles correction. If you need to restudy something or be corrected, say you're a Scientology auditor and you make some mistakes, you go to the qualifications division for reprogramming, for more training. Public division, this is Division 6. They are the people in charge of getting new people into Scientology. So every Scientology organization is set up this way. There are then job titles within each of these divisions and even above them. But this is how Scientology organizations are organized, by division, each that has a very specific job and something that they're supposed to accomplish.
It's the ones that are like 14-year-olds doing the beds of the adults that are booking rooms at the hotels, right? They recruit all the little young ones because they can have them do anything.
As a 12-year-old, basically, they put me into full-time training. So I was basically studying full-time. In Scientology, they would just call it an auditor. And then at one point that switched where I changed to be training to be the person who trains auditors.
This is Aaron Smith-Levin. His mom got him into Scientology at an early age, and after being pushed to drop out of public school at only 12 years old,
it's Aaron with his twin brother who sadly passed away.
He spent most of his waking hours working for the church. Now all grown up and free from the cult, he is one of Scientology's most active critics, known.
So fantastic interview. I love too that Serge was in there. His story is so powerful and he just really brought it. He really brought it. He did. Let's see. I think I got another clip from this here. What is this one? Oh my gosh. They tried to use a drone over the Hacienda Gardens. And well, I'm going to show you what happened and then we will talk about it. This is creepy.
Yeah. And my mom.
That was the
And that
penthouse
ending.
suite there.
It was just 4 condos, and there would always be a security guard posted, sitting across the way looking.
It actually won't let me go lower. That's weird.
Do you think it's a blocker?
That's the only thing I can think of, because they'll let me go up, but it won't let me go back down to where I was.
Interesting.
It's really odd.
And you lived in these apartments for how long?
For about 4 years.
I lived here for a few years as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember which block you lived in?
Multiple blocks, but one of the last ones was this one right here.
And you really can't get out.
Right here?
That was
Yeah, the
Dave's?
end one, yeah. And my mom.
That was the
And that
penthouse
ending.
suite there.
It was just 4 condos, and there would always be a security guard posted.
And there are so many people living in there. It's not like everybody gets their own apartment.
Sitting across the way looking.
It actually won't let me go lower. That's weird.
Do you think
See the drone, the drone won't go any lower.
it's a blocker?
That's the only thing I can think of, because they'll let me go up, but it won't let me go back down to where I was.
Interesting.
It's really odd.
And you lived in these apartments for how long?
For about 4 years.
I lived here for a few years as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember which?
So it's really, they go around and look at different properties and share about it. And isn't that weird? Like the drone could not go any lower. It's like, what was happening? What was happening there? Same way that, cell phones, Save the Garden Today at Flag. We'll talk about that in just a second. Same way that at the blue buildings that you'll notice when they're live streaming, when you get close to the blue buildings on Aaron Hubbard Way, it'll suddenly all go fuzzy. So I suspect that they have some type of blocker. Lisa Pete says they have their Iron Dome. It does seem like it. Blocks cell phones, blocks drones. We can't have people looking. Jesse, I don't know what happened to Sebastian. My suspicion is they moved him somewhere else where he can't be seen from the public. They could have sent him out of the state or even the country, or he could be on some program locked behind the doors. Who knows? If he would have left Scientology, I'd like to think that maybe he would have spoken up by now, especially since he has such a fan base. Sandy says, they say they don't believe in psychiatry, but clearly they do believe in electronic warfare. Truly, I know. Yeah, Cassie, I agree with you too. Wouldn't be surprised if they move Shannon as well, because that's what they do. They move people around. Jamie Castro says Area 51 has a jammer. That makes sense. So Scientology is kind of doing the same. Angela, yeah, it's a documentary, and Tommy G is the channel. I'm going to link it down below. You want to see the whole thing. Julia, I agree. It's like they were blocking the signal completely. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up some of these comments here. The most shocking thing. Oh, wait, first I have to. Okay, so today, 1 o'clock my time, I'm having a guest on. I think I had her on my other podcast. So I can't remember if I've actually ever had her on this channel or not. Her name is Annette. And if you have any interest at all in moving beyond challenges, she's had some stuff happen in her life. I've had stuff happen in my life. And we're basically going to talk about that and tools for moving beyond that. You guys know that I'm still dealing with the loss of my partner, Tony, and Annette was a big part of my healing as well. So she's coming on today, 1 o'clock my time. So keep that in mind. So our question of the day was, what's the most shocking thing you learned about Scientology? And Julie O'Connell says the way they abuse its members. Yep. Me and Taz, the most shocking thing is lack of response from government and law enforcement. That is. Marcy, how parents are brainwashed to think that the work they are doing for Scientology is more important than their kids. And that is something they work really hard on, I should say, Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard very much, he said that you have 8 dynamics in your life, and the second dynamic would be your family. And he said one dynamic is not more important than the other dynamics. That's how they justify not making your children a priority. One dynamic is not more important. L. Ron Hubbard said that you take action, you make decisions based on what is good, what is the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics. In reality, any former Scientologist will tell you what that really translates into. You have to make the decision that is the greatest good for Scientology. That's how it gets warped into being. That, well, if there's no Scientology, there's no spiritual freedom. So if you want to prioritize Scientology because you're guaranteeing spiritual freedom for your children. So by dedicating your life to Scientology and being a neglectful parent, you're creating a better future for them long term as a being, because they are immortal beings. That's part of how they're tricked into doing that. Truly. Sandy said the most shocking thing she learned about Scientology was that they have prison camps for internal punishment and call it religious discipline. That's not church. That's a hostage situation. Absolutely. The rehabilitation project force, they have the decks. You get put on the decks, basically manual labor if you get in trouble. Cody Quinn says the most shocking thing he's learned about Scientology is kids not being able to see their parents in the Sea Org and the hole. And the hole, of course, is where David Miscavige put all of upper management in a double wide lock trailer with bars and a guard, and they had to sleep under their desks. But yes, not being able to see their parents in the Sea Org. And if you read Jenna Miscavige's book, Beyond Belief, you can also listen to it on Audible. You really learn a lot more about that too, what that meant, how little time these kids actually had with their parents, and how that time became less and less until it was pretty much nothing. Anna says what shocks her most is the way they blame the victims of assault. I agree. That's another one that's really shocking, and that happened to me myself. And they do it to keep you under control. When I had the realization, I think this is important, and I think I've said this before, when I realized that Scientology actually had no power over me, nothing they did actually affected me after that. Even the harassment, the following, the trolling, because I know exactly what it is and I know what they're trying to do. They think mistakenly that they can introvert people so that they'll stop or try to blackmail them or whatever it is. Whereas they forget and don't focus on the fact that we're sharing our personal stories, our own experiences, or the experiences of others who were there. So you're kind of saying a heck of a lot of people are lying and not telling the truth. Yet we don't ever see Scientology out front talking about it or addressing it or doing anything to address these concerns. No, because L. Ron Hubbard said, never defend, always attack. So when somebody is sharing the truth about Scientology and exposing it as a human trafficking cult, Scientology, of course, does not like that. But there's nothing they can do about it because it's the truth. But why not address it? Why don't they address the concerns and do better? Buttercup 49 said the most shocking thing I learned was human trafficking, elder abuse, and front groups. I couldn't just pick one. Wow. I get it. Abigail says the disregard and sometimes endorsement of violence in any shape or form. Very true. And, in Scientology, if you have good statistics, you're a good producer. L. Ron Hubbard said you have what is called ethics protection, which means you can do all kinds of stuff and not get in trouble for it. Now, some people have tested that out and it hasn't totally been true. But when it comes to fair game and going after somebody who's a critic of Scientology, they feel very justified in slashing tires, in sending hate mail, in all the harassment, the trolling, all of the things. They feel very justified. But the minute it's done to them, it's religious persecution, and they hide behind that. At least have the balls to acknowledge what it is you're doing. I would have more respect for Scientology if they stopped being a church and just said, this is how we roll. We believe in harsh discipline. We believe in punishing even children. Be honest about it. You're still going to get shut down, hopefully, but it's the lying about it and trying to pretend that it's something else that's just not working. It's not working. The thing that surprised the Selena the most about Scientology was how deep into the occult LRH was. I feel that for me, that's on my list. That is one of the most shocking things because 35 years in Scientology, I never once heard about Jack Parsons or Aleister Crowley or L. Ron Hubbard, doing what he did. I did not. I had heard the Scientology version of he rescued a woman from an occult cult and shut it down, and he was there undercover to do so, which was total BS. Jersey Jan is most shocked by the child abuse. I get that. Jen Cass said the most shocking thing is the credit card fraud after all the abuse, of course. I know the fact that they just look what they did to Rosemary Brown, Mike Brown's mom. Elderly woman got a bunch of credit cards in her name and then lent that money to Scientologists to pay to Scientology. Chuck Ross says that staff constantly gossip about the things revealed in confessionals. That is very true, and very shocking as well. It's supposed to be confidential. You're told if you get these things off in a session and you confess, it's not going to be out there. Well, it's going to be out there the minute that you speak out against Scientology. And they'll outright make things up. They make things up too. So it's kind of a double whammy. Kathy says, everything surprised me at first, but now anything they do just makes me angry. I totally hear that. And I feel the same way. I really do. There are some really great ones here. Twyla says, baby bath production line of one dunk in the same dirty bath water. Oh, yes. That's right. The baby's just being dunked in the same dirty bath water and not given actual baths. Yeah, that was bad too. There's so much. Now, today is the Save the Garden protest outside Scientology at Flag in Clearwater. So if you're in the area, check it out. Dusty Soda Dispenser will be there. I'm sure Cheryl, Aaron Smith-Levin from Growing Up in Scientology, and so on and so on. I'm hoping Sandy McKenna will be there. Sandy McKenna streams under Sinners and Secrets. So find Sinners and Secrets. Make sure you're subscribed. Sandy McKenna will go do some tours and stuff too. And she's got just the best sense of humor. So make sure you check all of them out. I like to scroll between each one when I'm watching. That's how I like to do it on my phone, because you can just go one to the next. That's a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see who shows up. In the meantime, do me a solid and hit that like and subscribe. But more important than that, I hope you get out and you have a cult-free day. I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock my time.